Great experiences build great leaders. Great leaders build great teams. This is Building Great Sales Teams.
All right, guys, welcome back to Building Great Sales Teams. We are live for this one. I have a very special guest today. Michael Sartain is in the house. He's a retired U.S. Air Force captain. He's the founder of Men of Action mentoring.com. He's teaching men how to become more desirable, forge elite networks, and live a high-status lifestyle. He's also the host of the Michael Sartain podcast. He's a trader, a philanthropist, charity event host, and social media expert. Michael, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Awesome, man. Well, we met at Adam Lyon's Smart CEO event, and right away, as soon as you started talking, I'm like, all right, this dude knows what he's talking about. I had been struggling with some social media strategies, and you ironed them out without even knowing it. And I was like, okay, I need to start following this guy. And then it just kind of opened up. It opened up a whirlwind of different things that you've got going on. And so my first question is, how do you capture leads from social media despite all the noise that we see on social media right now?
Yeah, it's really great. So for me, because I'm a coach and I have a what you would consider a high ticket program. It's over $5,000 for my least expensive program. There's the first thing I would recommend for anyone who's in an arena like that, let's just say you have a low ticket offer or whatever, find other people that have similar things to what you have. So for me, it's the high ticket and mastermind group. So Adam Lyons would be one, right? Wes Watson would be another one. Yeah. Dan Fleischman would be another one. He's got $100,000 a year mastermind. Another one would be so Ryan Stewman, Dan Fleischman, Wes Watson, and Brad Lee, and then like I said, Adam Lyons. So if you start with those five, you're like, what are they doing right? And then what can I copy? So Adam is not big with the social media stuff yet. He's getting back on there, but Adam has certain ways that he, does his mastermind. So we'll look at those and the way he trains his sales teams. Same thing with Brad Lee, the way Ryan Stewman creates content, and especially Wes Watson. Those are things that we copy. And so that's the first thing I would do is find five sort of like mentors. And the great thing about social media is that I don't ever need to meet them. I've never met Cody Sanchez. We have some people that work for, I have a social media manager that used to be her social media manager. And so that's like a connection between the two of us, but we've never actually met. And so the thing about the two of us is, I can still learn from her, even though I've never met her. It's a really great thing about social media is that, like, when you're looking for a strategy, one of the easiest things to do is just find people who are successful and copy what they do. So how many reels should I post a day? That number is defined by how many reels Brad Lee posts a day. Let me say that one more time. The number of reels I post a day is defined by the number of leads that Brad Lee, who just hit 1 million, he just hit 1 million followers on Instagram. He's actually growing on Instagram when no one else is. The number of reels I post a day is dictated by the number of reels that Brad Lee posts a day. The number of shorts I post a day is dictated by the number of shorts that Fresh and Fit and Pearl Davis post every day. So I look for my YouTube content. It's a little different. That's not exactly social media, but I'm going to look for people who are successful on there. So Pearl Davis, real controversial YouTuber, but she went from, a couple hundred, maybe like 50, 60,000 subs. Now she's at 1.5 million. How'd she get to 1.5 million? She explained it to me. She made several different sites at the same time. Those sites consistently, she was putting out 30 shorts a day. 30 shorts a day. Now, not on one channel, on several different channels, and that all fed back to her main channel. So that's, again, where did I get these ideas from? I follow what other people do. And that's what I teach in my course. One of the modules in Men of Action is literally called Finding Mentors. So in social media, it's different. Like if you're trying to learn jujitsu, right? You have to go to a jujitsu place. You can't just watch video. You actually have to do it, right? If you're trying to learn how to play chess, you want to play against some of the best chess players in the world. But when it comes to social media, you can literally just copy what other successful people are doing. I'll have clients come to me sometimes, and this is not my main business. My main business is networking, but sometimes I'll have clients come to me and they're accountants or they're doing debt refinancing or whatever it's called.
Boring stuff.
Boring stuff like that. Boring businesses, right? and I'm like, okay, how do I get this boring business to be interesting. Well, the first thing I tell them is go on TikTok and let's go ahead and look up hashtags of your boring business. And then you're going to find there's like some divorce attorneys, my favorite. There are some fucking hilarious divorce attorneys out there that have they tell the best stories and they have so much viral content. Well, if you're a divorce attorney, you think you have a boring business, but you really don't. Even dude, Cody Sanchez, she owns coin-operated washaterias. Coin-operated washaterias, and she buys them next to like multi-unit, like middle to low-income places that don't have washing machines. And she makes a killing off doing this, and she makes it seem so interesting. This could not be a more boring business than what she's doing. Like you can, if you know how to create content, make cleaning out porta potties interesting on TikTok if you really want to try. So it's really one of these things that just when it comes to this question, you have a great question. We haven't even got to how to capture the leads yet. But when it comes to like, what do I do on social media? Who invigorates you? To me, probably the guy who like gets me the most hype when I watch his stuff is Wes Watson. Wes Watson went on Fresh and Fit on the 19th, and I set that up. I talked to Myron and I talked to Wes, and I got them connected to go do that. But Wes is like one of the most authentic dudes I've ever heard talk. He went to prison for 10 years. He was selling dope. Some guy tried to rip him off, and he almost beat the guy to death, and he went to jail for 10 years, and he talked about doing 10 years in a California State Penitentiary. And it's crazy the stories that he tells. But like when you watch his content, he went viral on YouTube. And then now Wes Watson does $2.6 million a month. He does 2.6 a month with 90% profit. And then you're like, okay, wait, there's something that's going on here. So now let's go to the next thing that you're asking, which is about lead capture. For us, lead capture is pretty simple. I wanted to, so my team is way more focused on paid advertisement, which leads to which goes down a sales funnel, right? That's kind of, and by the way, because we're kind of coming from the Cole Gordon trains my sales guys. Cole Gordon is a friend of mine. Yeah. So it starts with this is where kind of the basis for most companies now that don't have a brand already built. You're going to go, I'm going to pay for Facebook ads. And then the Facebook ads are going to lead to some kind of sales funnel, some sort of capture mechanism. For us, we have a website we built ourselves. My partner Grant built it. And you go there and then you book a call and that's it. We don't give a price on the website. You don't find that out until you set up a call.
You can't move on the website unless you put your info in. I'm here trying to research your mastermind, but I can't get past the paywall or the lead capture wall. So
for sure, we do the lead capture now. Yeah. Now, so the lead capture, now this isn't exactly what you asked, but the lead capture, those guys who don't set up a call, then our outbound setters are going to go back and give you a call later because you did the lead thing. And then here's the other thing that happens. It's a little different with me, is that when the outbound guy finds you and then you're like, hey, I just don't have the money to do the course. We just flood you with content. So I'm on episode 89 of my podcast. I got my next 4 episodes planned out. It's Mike Rashid, Robert Kiyosaki, Bradley, and Violetta Benson, the girl from Get Daddy's Issues. Those are my next 4 episodes on my podcast. So I've got those planned out. You're going to get an email for each one of those new episodes. You're going to get an email for all the new episodes of the free MOA group mentoring that we do. We did one on Monday where we coach for 3 hours. Guys who are not part of MOA can come on and ask questions for 3 hours. I got 50 leads from that. 47 leads. I got 47 guys to join the free school server from the last one we did. So it's free. The main point I'm trying to make is the free sub. And then I do Access Vegas every other Thursday, which is me and Rolo Tomasi. We host a podcast with 10 girls. So the thing is, when you come in and we do the paid advertisement, we get you coming into the funnel. Let's just say you click the button to like sign up to set up an appointment, but you don't set up an appointment. We still we get your information. From that information, our outbound setters are going to then contact you. Now, I will tell you the most difficult mechanism in this company that I have right now, without a doubt, is the setters and the closers. It's not even close. Like nothing else. Everything else we can send to a guy in Nepal. Someone in the Philippines can do it. Everything else, that is the only thing we can't do. The setters and closers. Those people are like fucking gold. Those are my offensive linemen. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. Those guys are my O linemen. Those guys block for me. I cannot. When Emmitt Smith won his first rushing title, right afterwards, he brought every one of the offensive linemen a Rolex watch. What I do, my sales guys, we all go to Jamaica together with 150 girls in September. That's what I do with my guys. So they love working for me, right? That's what we little different incentives in my company, right? Just as friends, we're all going as friends. It's a big Bible study thing we do at Jamaica. So the thing I'm trying to say is, So the outbound guys will go and get that lead, those people that were those captured leads, and then the rest of them will set up. They'll click to sign up for a call. Then they usually get on the call. And I think, hey Tristan, what are we called to close now? Like 15%, something like that. Okay, he's on call. Maybe it's I can't remember what it is, but it's like maybe lead to close is 15% or something. I can't. Maybe I'm saying this wrong. I know it's a high number for us. It might be 20%, something like that.
Yeah, lead to close, I would be surprised, but call to close makes a ton of sense at 15%.
Yeah, call to close maybe 15%.
Insane, like you would be.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, not lead to close. Yeah, okay. So remember, this is not my area.
Yeah,
I'm fulfillment and coaching. I'm learning this as I go. Cole is teaching me this with everyone else. So anyway, that's what we do. I know we have a really high rate when it comes to that, but it is a $5,000 product, or it's more than that $6,000 product for my cheapest product. So when you realize that, so now I understand that my lead to close, like you said before, is going to be a pretty low number. So what I try to do is, like I said before, funnel the guys who can't afford it. These are the college students or the guys who are like, we have a lot of people who love my content that live in India or Brazil and just can't afford the content. Then we want you on the podcast. We want you on the free school server. We want you reading all the books. We still want you to fix your Instagram. We have a free course where we fix we do the first 4 steps of MOA. All that stuff we get for free. There's a year's worth of content that you can watch for free from Men of Action without even joining the course. And then we just want you in the cycle. Eventually, the goal is to have a low ticket offer, right? Where did I get that idea from? Low ticket offer. I actually got it from Andrew Tate. The reason why I do a show with Rollo Tomasi right now is because Andrew Tate reached out to me about a year and a half ago. He reached out to me on Instagram. We started talking back and forth, and we went to WhatsApp because he knew he was going to lose his IG, and he was going to come out to Vegas, and we were going to do an interview. He couldn't do the interview. He couldn't come to the States, so he set me up with Justin Waller. You guys can watch on my podcast. I do interview with Andrew's business partner, Justin Waller. Then after Justin goes to Reno and does an interview with Rollo Tomasi. Rollo sees my content. He's been wanting to do a show in Vegas. Immediately we hit it off. This guy, the only human I know that reads as much on evolutionary psychology as me, is Rollo Tomasi. Immediately we get along. We're both huge NFL fans. We're like, totally click with each other. We don't agree on everything, but we just become very good friends very quickly. And so Rollo and I do a show together because of that. So where's the lead gen? Again, the Access Vegas show that I do with Rollo, we have, I give Rollo is one of my affiliates. So is Myron Gaines. So is all the other guys who come on my show, unless they're selling their own products. So like Justin Waller has Hustle University. So he's not going to do an affiliate code. So I have remember the first thing I said was paid advertisement. So the second part is the affiliate stuff. The affiliates are going to be like, you're going to go to an affiliate page. Again, this was all designed by Grant. You guys, Grant Jordan, my partner, you don't have to design it yourself. You can actually do it on your own, or do it on your own. There's ready-made affiliate things, but for us, it's first name, last name, email, and then just a PayPal link. That's all we have. And we pay you 10%. The only thing that you have to be careful with the affiliate stuff is this. You can't do an affiliate site and then say you took the product when you didn't take the product. So if you haven't finished MOA, you can't give a testimonial for MOA. Right. But what you can do, the really great way to get around that, is what you can do is you can collate my content and then sell the product. Meaning you can take all the clips from my content. So if you guys look at MOA.podcast on Instagram or on Instagram and on YouTube, that's not me. That's one of my affiliates. That's one of my clients who's making money by taking my content, collating it, and he gets paid 10%. On the low ticket offer that we're going to do in the future, which is Andrew Tate's Hustle University, that's where we got the idea from. Eventually, when we do a low ticket offer, we're probably going to give our affiliates 50% of that. It's just an idea. The three of us still have to agree on it. The three
straight
partners.
volume play.
Yeah. And what that does is it does two things. Number one, now, instead of me paying some guy in Nigeria or Nepal in order to clip all these things for me, these guys who want to make money will literally sell my program at a 50% commission. And in doing so, they'll clip my content for me. And voila, you get Andrew Tate with 12 billion individual searches on TikTok. That's what happens. Yeah. Right? Does that make sense? So this is the one. This is my baby. Of the three, we're going to go over three. The first one we went over was paid. Of the three, this is the one that is my favorite because this is the one that grows the brand the quickest. You're not going to make the most money from the affiliates, but this is the one that grows the brand the quickest. Then when you have these guys in the low ticket offer, 67 Steps by Telo Lopez is another great example. Ty is another friend of mine. Then when you got guys in the low ticket offer, what do? Now we can upsell them into something bigger. Is it going to be all the guys? No. But here's the two things we want. Number one, is we want to capture the leads. Number two, if the guys can't afford a high ticket offer, we want them somewhere in the system. We want to keep them in the system.
Yeah.
I want to keep them coming to Babes in Toyland. I want to keep them coming. I'm hosting a bikini competition at Wet Republic next Friday for $60,000. I want to keep them coming to my events. I want to keep them on my free Monday calls. I want to keep them on my Thursday Access Vegas calls. I want to keep them on my free school server. I want to keep them in my ecosystem. Okay. And then there's the third way. So we went over, like I said before, we went over paid, we went over affiliate. The third way is organic. And this is the one that I didn't have to really do any work for initially because I already had, 40,000 followers on Instagram. And this is still over 60% of our revenue comes from organic. And this is basically, organic. People will just go to my Instagram and then there's just a link. Initially, it was a link to a link tree. We stopped doing that on advice of Cole Gordon. We go direct to the sales page now. That's what we do. I wanted to go direct to the school server, but for us, what we decided was, if you're into my content and you just want to buy my content or you just want to buy my program, you click the link. It goes direct to the sales page, not the free school server. Right down to the sales funnel to set up a call to buy the program. When we do that, we get the lead capture and then we can push you on the school server if you can't afford the program. But we also we have setters and we have a situation where we can figure out this is a good lead we want to close. This is not a good lead we don't want to close. And if we don't close them, then we can send them to the free school server. But we've decided to just go for the kill on my Instagram page. Does that make sense? On my Instagram link in bio. And so that's helped us out a lot. As soon as we made that change, really, really helped with our revenue. So that was the other thing we did as far as lead capture is concerned. And then, like I said before, we post reels every day. We post reels every day because Ryan Stewman posts reels every day, because Cody Sanchez posts reels every day, because Brad Lee posts reels every day, because Grant Cardone posts reels every day. That's why we post reels every day. And so we just basically copied their model. And because I do 9 hours of content every week, my content team has unlimited clips that they can make. You could easily pull 10 out of this interview between you and me right now. And they will, by the way, when you post this on YouTube, my content team immediately, when we're done with this, I'm sending it to the dude in Nigeria. I'm sending it to Shar. And then I'm also sending it to Kareem Gonzalez. And they're going to go through and they're going to clip out 90-second clips. And they're going to do 10-minute videos out of this. The 10-minute videos are going to go on YouTube. The 90-second clips are going to be turned into IG Reels. They're going to be turned into TikToks. And they're going to be turned into, we're going to put them on Snapchats. And we started putting them on Twitter. I got 4,000 new subscribers on Twitter recently because we started doing this on Twitter. So it's just it's sort of a place that we haven't explored yet. I will tell you, however, when it comes to the coaching, like what I'm selling, Facebook and Instagram are 89% of where you're going to get your revenue from. Solid leads from TikTok don't really exist yet. TikTok is a lot of Cyrillic alphabet, a lot of people from Indonesia. I personally believe because it's owned in China, that they just have a ton of bots. There's just, if you guys look, you'll find notice how many friends you have that have one video that have 1 million views on it. Just one, maybe two. It'll have 1 million views. I have so many friends that have one video with 15 million views on it. And it's almost like TikTok gives you one freebie that goes viral. And I don't believe that there's enough that we can't all be famous. For all these people to have these viral videos doesn't make sense to me. There's a company that I won't say their name because the guy who runs it's still a buddy of mine. But this company put all of their marketing budget during COVID. They put their entire marketing budget into TikTok, and their stock price went from the mid $30 to 60 cents a share after COVID ended because TikTok the ROI on TikTok is next to zero. It really is. It really is poor. So just so you know, our ROI on YouTube is 30%. So meaning if I put in $1,000, I'll make $1,300. Our ROI on Facebook is 26 to 1. It's 2,600%. Meaning if I put in $1,000, I make $26,000 back. That's about where we are with Facebook right now. So I was just Rich Sheffrin. I'm going to interview him in July. He's the guy who created the webinar. The modern webinar was created by a guy named Rich Sheffrin. And I'm having Rich on. Rich actually thinks YouTube is the place to go, and he's having trouble on Facebook. And what the thing I'm going to talk to Rich about is if your content is creative enough, I still think Facebook is way better than YouTube, because YouTube doesn't have any ways for you to really target the right people. If YouTube allowed me to specifically advertise on certain people's platforms, then YouTube would be a better platform for me to use. But there's these new rules now that these tech companies can't make it super specific. Like people were just marketing to people who lived in certain neighborhoods. It used to be on Facebook. It was crazy on Facebook Ad Manager. You could go literally put a circle around a 1 mile circle around someone's neighborhood. And so just like the richest, just like you only wanted to sell Bugattis to people who lived in Highland Park, Texas, the richest neighborhood in Texas, which is in the middle of Dallas. You could just put your ads are only shown to people on Facebook who live in Highland Park. You used to be able to do that. And then only show it to men, only with this income. And, you could pick their like religious affiliation. So only to Methodists, and you could exclude Muslims. Like, it was crazy, the kind of stuff you could do on Facebook back then. They got rid of almost all of that though. And so even though Facebook is still good for us, it's not as good as it was, or it's not good as it could have been for us back before these rules changes. And YouTube is like, it's barely useful. Honestly, it's just really hard to do that, because Ty Lopez made so much money when he, did the 67 steps program. The rules have become harder. And what these platforms don't want is for one of their people who's paying for their platform. I don't know what you would call us, advertisers. What they don't want is for one advertiser to just become dominant. So I kind of found the holy grail. In my advertisement, what I do is I talk about high status networking. I never talk about dating. Dating is a trigger word on Facebook. You don't want to say that word whenever you're selling a product on Facebook. Okay. And so I say high status networking, and then in the video clips is nothing but me with beautiful women, and I'm never touching them. They're always touching me. They're grabbing me. They're coming up to talk to me. It's nothing sexual. They're all in gowns. I'm in a suit, and it's just very clear that I'm getting massive amounts of compliance from these women. And the women that we chose to be in the advertisements were all very, very attractive. And so, and by the way, all of it was real. We didn't film any of it for a commercial. This is just my real life from hosting all these events. We use all that content for the advertisement, and like I said, 26 to 1 ROI. That's what we've been getting. So as far as capturing the leads, the affiliate thing that we talked about before, the paid and the organic, all go back down through a funnel. We happen to have 3 different funnels. So it's one funnel for organic, a different funnel for paid, and a different funnel for affiliate. The page looks a little different.
I'm going to do my best to unpack some of that.
Okay.
and whenever someone's reeling like that, I'm just going to shut up. You know what I mean? Because at that point, you're just giving game after game after game after game. And so the first thing that I heard was copy what works. The second thing that I heard was you have a 3-tier system that you're using right now.
There is kind of a 4th tier, and the 4th tier is me going on other people's podcasts.
Oh yeah.
So this isn't this because this is kind of like, I'll give you an affiliate code after this. This is kind of affiliate, and it's also kind of organic. It's not paid. It's kind of a hybrid of the two things, but this is a really great way to grow. In the last 4 weeks, I've done 21 podcasts, other people's podcasts. Some of them haven't even released them. Some of the people's podcasts don't even have any subscribers. And then I'll do a couple of them that has like I'll go on whatever podcast with 4 million subs. I'll do everyone's show. By the way, let me give you guys a piece of advice. There are 2 huge content creators in Miami right now, and they don't like each other. And the reason why they don't like each other is because the first one, when he was small on YouTube, he asked the second one, hey, can we do a collab? And the second one said, hey, you know what? I just don't really feel like, it's really going to work out for us. You're not a good match for my channel, and you don't really have enough followers. The first one is now 3 times bigger than the second one. The second one is now, hey, can we do a collab? And the first guy's like, no, you remember when I asked you before when I was smaller? I know I've done 21 podcasts. Like I said, in the last 4 weeks, I guarantee you 1 or 2 or 3 of them is going to blow up and become bigger than me. And I would love if when their channel blows up that there's at least one interview with Michael Sartain that's on there. And I also never want them to think that I'm not going to do someone else's show because they don't have enough subscribers. I am not like that. I will do I've said this before, anyone who is watching this show right now, I will do your podcast. I will make time. I will give you 4 hours of fire if that's what you want. And my goal every time I do a podcast is to be the most viewed episode that anyone has on your thing, and just to get you to come back and join our ecosystem. I don't give a shit even if you don't like me. I still want to have more views than anybody else. I'm debating. I debated a flat earther on August 1st. I'm debating a Holocaust denier. Like I debate guys, like I'll do whatever. But here's the other thing. This is a really interesting point. I don't really talk about this as much. And it's just a theory that I have. And I may be proven drastically wrong, but this is something I do. I like to debate people whose following would never buy my product anyway, so I don't risk anything. Does that make sense?
Fair. Yeah.
I debated a numerologist the other day. No one who believes in numerology is ever going to buy the Men of Action mentoring course, which is based on evolutionary psychology. No one, because my course is based on science and numerology is hokum. So like, I'm not worried about losing clients by debating a numerologist. But what does happen is all those numerology weirdos, they start commenting, getting in the comment section and making personal attacks against me, but it just boosts the algorithm and the watch time just explodes on YouTube. So it's almost like an arbitrage situation. It's just something I'm trying. I could be way off about this, but I specifically seek out moon landing deniers, flat earthers, Holocaust denier, like the ones where it's like very easy for me to disprove. I go and I do debates with those people just to like try to see how fucking riled up I can get their audience. And it's worked out great so far.
Dude, you guys got to love you because you're constantly out rainmaking for them, you know, and that's the model, right? You make it rain and then they're able to convert those leads into clients, right?
If you're a content creator right now, your job is for what you need to have is for your sales team to be like, yo, man, I had like 5 laydowns this week. I had like 10 laydowns this week. If my sales team is like, dude, I don't get any laydowns, then that's my fault. That is not their fault. Laydowns are my fault. For those of you not in sales, a laydown is a guy who just comes in. He's like, I don't need to hear your pitch. I just want to give Michael my money. Like those guys, when you have those, you need like the laydowns. If my sales team is not getting any laydowns are 100% my responsibility. They're not their responsibility. There's nothing they can do to make the laydown go better. I have to go on someone's show and I have to say something like your show right now that really speaks to someone so that they're like, fuck this, man. I need to join MOA. There's no way for me to do anything else. Or I need to at least get them close enough to where they're on my Instagram and they see the irrefutable visual evidence of the things that I teach. If they do that, then we should have some number of laydowns. And what does that do? That also, if you're a sales guy, if I have a quality sales guy, like a really good one, and I want to keep him, I need to compensate him correctly, right? I need to motivate him correctly. But if he gets a ton of laydowns working for me, that's just like time in his day that he gets back. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you rather make a high commission working for somebody who's just like loading you full of laydowns? Because eventually I want first team all NBA guys on my fucking roster. That's all I want. My whole sales team, I want murderers. And so in order to get that, I need to incentivize them rather than what a lot of people do. If I have a boring business, a lot of guys are like, man, I got to sell fucking copiers. Fuck, I got to wake up every day and sell copiers. Damn it. Pearl Davis used to sell Pearl Davis used to sell fax machines and copiers. Andrew Tate used to sell windows. Like that's a lot of these people become good salesmen because they sell boring products. I don't want my product to be boring. I want, if you work for me, for my sales team, I want you to feel like, holy shit, man, this thing sells itself. Well, I listen to Tristan. He's one of my sales guys. He's staying with me right now. When he's talking to the guys, you can hear it in his voice. He's not trying to sell him. He's trying to save him. He's like talking to the guy like, dude, I know this will change. Like, I know this will change your life if you take this course. Like, and he said the way he says it, because it's true, because it changed his life. Also, all my sales guys, almost all of them went through my program. They're like, oh, dude, you can hear the excitement in his voice. This is going to change your life. And so that makes them really excited. And that's the kind of sales people that you want.
Well, and I met 2 of your salespeople at the event, and I was
no, those are my partners.
Those are
my partners. Yeah,
okay. Yeah. All right. They were asking questions about bringing the people in and how to fleece them basically and get the best salespeople out of it and everything. Yeah. So we had a conversation, and I was thoroughly impressed. And that's kind of what I look at and why I wanted you on the show. I was like, well, if these are people that are at least managing his sales team and like you said, they're your partners, then that's a good reflection. And I want him on the show to talk about his team and how he's built that out and everything. And so by the way, guys, Michael is hiring right now. So if this sounds like something you want to do, first off, join his group and then fill out an application to work with him on that. There's his funnel right there. If you guys are interested in that, it's MOA mentoring /jobs/sales.
Yeah. You just type in jobs. This will pop up. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I can see how you attract these guys, obviously, but how are you retaining them? How are you ensuring that they stay, other than the obvious? You know what I mean? Because all of us can't be around bikini models all day and parties in Jamaica.
So for me, they get 24/7 access to me.
Okay.
And because I teach a course on networking, but we also go over things like, what do we do if you're dealing with a breakup? What happens if I'm not getting what I want out of my relationship, or what do I do if my boss, I have a client right now is in Germany, or no, he's in Switzerland, and he works at a restaurant, and he has a new boss, and his boss is like, his contract is for X amount of hours, and his boss has him working X times 1.25, like more hours than he's supposed to. But this is the new boss, and he doesn't want to get fired. So like, what do I do? And I go over them step by step. How do we communicate that? And there's a book list. Start with why, crucial conversations, how to win friends and influence people, 4-hour work week, E-Myth revisited. Like, there's a 30 book list that I make all my guys go through. And so we go over step by step how to fix those problems. That access that my clients pay for, my sales team gets that 24/7 for me anytime they want. Frequently, I have clients that'll hit me up and be like, Michael, I want to throw a photo shoot. No, I'm sorry, not clients, sales guys. They'll hit me up and be like, Michael, we just got a house out here in Las Vegas. We want to throw a photo shoot with like 30 girls. What do? I go, ready? Step 1, step 2, step 3. I just walk them all through it. I'll do a Zoom call with all my sales guys at the same time. And anything outside of the sales stuff, I'll also help them with. And also when they need introductions to certain people, I'll give them those introductions. That's another thing that I do. So I try to make the sales guys feel like they're part of the family. So access to me as much as they want, access to the other guys. Obviously, there's Grant is phenomenal at what he does. Miguel is phenomenal at what he does, my 2 partners. And then additionally, what they get when they work for me is access to all of our events. So they get to come to Babes in Toyland, they get to come Model Citizen. Well, they get to come to Babes in Toyland, the Maxim parties, the Teatro parties. They get to come to the bikini competition, Swimsuit USA, and Paradise Challenge. So they get to come to all those. Some of them, if they get really good, like I can't get guys into like, say, Dan Bilzerian's party unless they bring like 40, 50 girls. But I teach you how to, like, one of the main things I teach you in my course is how do I get 40 or 50 girls to go to a party with me? And so several of my clients have gotten invited to those huge, like Model Citizen Fund is like an impossible ticket. But some of my clients get invited to those parties because they listen to my instruction. The first 4 steps of MOA: number 1, fix your Instagram; number 2, build a list; number 3, find 6 events to invite people to just for practice; and number 4, you need to have 6 female colleagues to go with you to those different events. And we go over step by step how to do that. Fixing your Instagram is the most important one, though. And so my sales team, they learn that as well. And so now they have this lifestyle that, again, they're congruent with the lifestyle we teach in the program, and they sell that lifestyle. So they're congruent when they do their sales calls. And so because of that, we've had phenomenal success, and we've been able to pretty much every 6 months double our revenue.
Yeah, and they're completely bought in, and that's a beautiful thing when you have a salesperson that believes that their product is the greatest thing possible for their clients. So you started talking about the events a little bit, and I was kind of curious about this. You've given so much value on the front end. Thank you for that. But I'm kind of curious about your story a little bit here. Captain in the Air Force, and then from what I understand, what I was able to put together, because your content is just flooding your SEO. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to go and get the older stuff, right? And so Captain in the Air Force.
I didn't even know that, dude. I didn't even know that. By the way, I have a website, michaelsartain.com/bio, and all this is on there. But yeah, I didn't even realize that. Like I was going to TikTok and I was scrolling down for like half an hour, and there are videos down there. I forgot because we put up like 2,000 videos. Yeah. There's old stuff you can't even find of me. It's crazy how well, dude, someone was making a hit piece on me the other day. It's just all nonsense. Like they took some things I said way out of context. Right. And I was like, should we do something about it? And then I like went back a month later, and it's so far down the list of videos, like shorts on YouTube and TikTok videos that like you can't even find it. And like you literally have to go through so many videos of mine to get to this thing that like by the time you see it, you're like, nah, this is really, really weak. So instead of dealing with it, we just made more content. I knew a guy, he was like a really, really horrible fucking human being. This guy got charged with like 33 felonies, whatever. If you went on and you Googled his name, the top 10 articles were about all the horrible stuff this guy had done. I don't even want to say the words because we're on YouTube of some of the stuff this guy did. And so what he did is he started getting a PR firm to write articles about him. And then when he did it, the first 10 entries on the first page on Google were just nothing but positive things about him. But if you go to page 2, it's right back to the felonies. So it's one of these things where people were like trying to replace that top level SEO. So I just use this as an extreme example. Yeah. Same thing with like, everyone knows that Jordan Belfort, slept with a bunch of prostitutes and did quaaludes and snorted a bunch of cocaine. And they vaguely know that he got arrested and went to jail. But like no one remembers, like he went to jail for 15 months, minimum security, and then got out. And like I don't know this for a fact, but he's probably wealthier now, maybe not in 2023 dollars, but he's probably wealthier now than he was when he was, running his pink slips scams. And so when you really consider that, how much he's basically painted over the bad with the good. And that's a trick in SEO, is you just keep producing content. It's one of these things where, like, let's say I completely move out of this male self-improvement manosphere content, and I go into something else where I start teaching people, whatever, debt reconciliation, just whatever you want to make.
Yeah.
If I did that after 1,000 videos, you won't even find my manosphere content anymore.
Yeah.
I'll just keep pushing it out. So and it's a really great way to do it. And the thing is, this is what I said when I first met you, when I was up on stage with Adam. You have How to Beast, right? He's at the top of the pyramid, right? On YouTube, he is. The How to Beast is number one. He's bigger than anyone else. How to Beast will spend upwards of 50, 60 grand, upwards to like $500,000 to produce one video. And the video might be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes long. Okay. So I want you to think about How to Beast, all the work that goes into a 20-minute video. Got it? Now, Casey Neistat, he's a vlogger, is another really great content creator. He'll put a ton of editing into like a 12-minute video. Got it? Now, I go on a live stream and I do a 4-hour video. I don't get the same engagement they do, but the ironic thing is, me doing 4 hours is easier than them doing 12 minutes. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people when they see it like that. But me doing a 4-hour video that a few people watch, what will happen is 10-minute clips will be pulled out of, just think of like a scrap heap of data, and you can just pull what you want out of this scrap heap of all these 4-hour, 2-hour, 3-hour interviews that you do. You make 90-second clips for Reels and TikTok, and then you make 10-minute videos for YouTube. And when you can consistently post those, what will happen is 1 or 2 or 5 of those clips will go viral. And in those clips will be an affiliate link or a link that goes back to your sales funnel in those clips. So now, one of the crazy things that happened, this is actually what happened to Andrew Tate, when the BBC interviewed him. Andrew Tate made a comment that, like, she said, Andrew Tate, this is completely taken out of context. This was the part that was not said. The part that was not said is Andrew said, if I have a Ferrari and we're together, we live together, is that your Ferrari? And the girl goes, hell yeah, that's my Ferrari. Of course, I can go use the Ferrari anytime I want. And then he goes, but like, if you're on OnlyFans, shouldn't that also be my money? So he's making this like weird analogy, and he was being funny when he said it, and the girls all laugh. And so BBC takes it and he says, if a girl does OnlyFans, you're saying that she should give you all the money. And he's like, no, that was completely taken out of context on a video that I did in 2014 that got 300 views, and you've totally taken this out of context. Does that make sense? Yeah. But what happens is, that video legit got 300 views. That clip got like 28 million views. You see what happens? The 60-second clip got 28 million views. The entire interview got 300 views. And so that's what happens. But like, that's an extreme example. That I know that sounds like a bad example, but that's an extreme example of what will happen. I have several videos that got maybe 1,000 views, and clips out of those videos with 40,000 views. That's pretty reasonable, 40,000. But a couple of them with 2 or 3 million views. I have one where someone asked me, what do you think about the demise of the West? And I was like, I don't think the US dollar is ever going to fall. And the reason why is because the F-22, the F-35, the F-18, the F-16, the EA-6B, the F-14, the F-117, the B-2, the B-52. And then I just went on for like half an hour just saying, like, the M1, the Bradley fighting vehicle, the M1 Abrams tank, the 11 nuclear-powered Nimitz-class aircraft carriers, the submarine arsenal, and the ICBM structure. No, I don't think any country is going to take over the United States, and I think the US dollar is going to be fine. And that thing got 3 million views when I posted that.
I love it.
And so that kind of stuff, again, the actual video, 26,000 views. That one clip that I made got 3 million views. And so you just pull those clips out of these long interviews you do. Michael, that sounds like a whole lot of work. No, hire some dude in Nigeria. He'll do it for $500 a month, and he'll give you 300 clips a month. And you'll flood your clientele, your potential clientele, which is content every day. And that's what's going to happen. One of the things that I've also seen is that older content creators, like guys who've been doing this for 15 years or whatever, they're used to posting only really good photos once a week in order to keep their content going. And now this idea of posting 4 times a day, they just feel like it's way too ostentatious, but it's what you got to do to win now. And it was honestly Grant Cardone who kind of started us all down this path. Grant was posting
10x.
like 10 times a day. He was posting.
Yeah.
And there was this really funny conversation between Grant Cardone and Brad Lee, where Brad's like, listen, Grant, dude, oh, you're posting so much. Like, I'm going to have to unfollow you. This is crazy. Like, every 5 seconds I'm seeing your advertisements, and I need you to like stop posting so much or I'm going to stop following you. And Grant is talking to Brad Lee. He goes, you don't even buy my shit anyway, motherfucker. And then hangs up on him.
Freaking love that.
And he thought that Grant was going to ruin his brand. It's the opposite. It's really funny. Mark Cuban said the same thing about the NFL. Mark Cuban said that because the NFL was going to have Saturday games and Monday games and Thursday games, it was going to be too much. And the complete opposite happened. The NFL exploded because of the more content they're creating. You're doing 5 reels a day, but the NFL is posting games on more days, and they're doing games in Europe, and they're doing all these other things that they're doing, all this other content that they're making. The excessive amount of content, for whatever reason, people love it. That model kind of got started by Netflix. Netflix subscribership goes up the more stuff they flood the channel with. And when, dude, have you ever gone and looked at someone else's Netflix account? It looks completely different than mine. My Netflix account is full of action shows and historical war shit. And then I go on my girlfriend's Netflix, and it's like completely different. Her shit is just like,
beautiful.
5 love language shit and all this. It's a completely different experience for her than it is for me. Why? Because they flood us with content. So for a lot of people, that may be very discouraging. What used to happen is I would write one book, or I'd make one awesome video, and that awesome video would go viral, and then I'd have a business based on that. It doesn't work like that anymore. You have to just, content is king. You have to flood. And at least for the time being, that's the way things are going to work until they don't work this way anymore. And then once that happens, all of us will just pivot to whatever the new thing is. Because those of us who are successful, and I'm telling you right now, if I had Wes Watson on this call, if I had Brad Lee on this call, if I had Ryan Stewman on this call, if I had Dan Fleischman on this call, if I had Ty Lopez on this call, all buddies of mine, all numbers in my phone, I invite them, all these guys to my birthday party. If I had them on here right now and I said, the new thing is this, the new app is this, what would we all do? We're whores to what works. We would do whatever the new thing is, wouldn't even think twice about it. We do not care. We do not hold on to our previous beliefs about anything when it comes to marketing and sales. We quickly are a whore to what works, and we will change to whatever the new thing is immediately, because social media is fake, but the money's real. So that's the only so we don't really care what the new thing is. We're just going to do whatever. If everyone, listen, if Rumble takes off, which could happen, if Rumble takes off because of YouTube censorship, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, YouTube has walked back some of their censorship because of the explosion of Rumble. If that happens, also you're going to notice TikTok and Instagram are going to roll back some of their censorship because of what's going on in Twitter. They have to. It's just supply and demand in the market. If that starts happening and everybody goes over to Rumble, I'm going to be the first guy over there to Rumble. I'm not even going to think twice about it.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, as soon as you said that, I downloaded the app, and I messaged one of my VAs, and I was like, hey, learn everything you can about Rumble, because apparently it's going to blow up. I had heard about it before, but it was one of those things. It's like, hey, I keep hearing about it, whatever, but it takes an interaction like that sometimes just to get you on it.
You already have a StreamYard account. It costs you nothing. Just start at Rumble, and then this thing that we're live streaming on YouTube right now, just put it on Rumble. It costs them. Do Rumble and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube all at the same time. There's no reason you can't live stream on all those at the same time. Then what you do, I learned this from Fresh and Fit, is you're going to cut the Rumble feed they cut YouTube. Actually, they'll cut YouTube, they'll cut TikTok, and they'll cut Facebook and push everybody to Rumble because Fresh and Fit knows they're going to lose their channel. They're hyper conservative, red pill manosphere stuff. So they know they're going to probably lose their channel at some point. And so they're preemptively pushing everyone to Rumble. And Andrew Tate, he has freedom of access on Rumble. He can say anything he wants on there. Nobody gets banned on Rumble. Nobody. The only thing I'm going to warn people about: no one gets banned for anything on Rumble. Yeah. So because of that, you're gonna have some extremely extremely offensive shit on there, and no one's gonna get banned for it. Okay, no one. You can say scream the N-word, whatever. Nobody says any. So that's the only the issue with Rumble. I wish there was a little bit more decorum on that platform, but the problem is because all those people have been deplatformed on YouTube, they've all moved over to Rumble.
No, that makes a ton of sense. So going from the Air Force to trading to now being a coach and an influencer and running your mastermind, like how did that step even happen? Retiring from the Air Force and then going into trading. I imagine that was already happening when you were in the Air Force, but the other jump, how did all that happen?
No, the trading happened. My father passed away, and all of a sudden I was left managing an estate. And I
Okay.
really saw how poor money managers were. Not poor, actually, how average they were. I started looking up some statistics. Like, for instance, 86% of 86% of active traders don't beat the S&P 500. Really, guys, if you really want to save time, I know I can't believe I'm saying this because 10 years ago I would have slapped myself for saying this. But because the Tony Robbins thing with the whole fucking buy the Vanguard S&P 500 and then just like let it sit for the rest of your life. That's not the best idea, but it's a good idea. It's not the best idea, but it's a good idea. Buy a new house buy a new rental property every year and then put 10% down. That's actually, to me, the best idea. That's the best, because even in downtimes, you still have all that property that you can leverage. Those are assets that you can keep forever. So to me, that's the best idea. Also, I personally love the idea of selling premium. Anybody who's involved in sales, as far as anyone who's been involved as far as insurance sales knows, you sell the insurance policy and you collect a premium. You can also do that with stock options. And stock options are great because you can choose your risk tolerance. You can sell 10 Delta options, and those 10 Delta options have a 10% chance of expiring in the money. And so you have a 90% chance of getting paid. So I love stock option stuff. It's always been one of my favorite things because they're very liquid markets. So that's probably, I would say that's a 9 out of 10. And then 10 out of 10, the best thing I can tell anybody, start a scalable business. That's always going to be 10 out of 10. Coaching, whatever it is, scalable business where you start fixing someone's problem, that's going to be 10 out of 10. 9 out of 10 is going to be real estate. 8 out of 10 is probably going to be some active trading like stock option stuff. And then a 7 out of 10 would be like just I'm going to invest in the S&P 500. Like a 5 out of 10, it could be good, it could be bad, is I'm going to go heavy into crypto. It depends on when you bought it. If you buy it, it's the greatest decision ever. If you buy it at a certain time, it doesn't work out as well. I'm going to go heavy into the new NFT thing. I'm going to give that like a 5 out of 10. It's better than nothing, but it's not always the best idea. I'm definitely bullish on crypto, but I'm not so bullish that I'm going to put 90% of my money into it.
Yeah, I've got a ton of NFTs just sitting in my digital wallet. Yeah. I'll look at them again in a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what happens.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
So when you look at events and you put together a lot of events, a lot of high profile events, what makes a good event? Because in my mind, events are a great way to recruit. They're a great way to bring in leads and then also to foster relationships. So, yeah. and then you're packaging a nonprofit in with that. So kind of what is the playbook for an event in your mind?
Okay. So I'm not going to give like the standard platitude answers. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Okay. What makes great events is having either celebrities, athletes, or fantastically beautiful women. I'm sorry if this is the first time anyone's ever told you this. It's the truth. When a bunch of I'm going to explain to you why I mean this. It is much harder to get super attractive influencers to come to an event. So we throw babes into it and we raise money, I believe November 27th. We're doing one October 15th for breast cancer awareness. And then we're doing one in late November to collect toys for homeless children. We invite hundreds and hundreds of social media influencers. The biggest ones are Chloe Ture, Abigail Ratchford, Lindsay Palis, Emily Sears, and Kindly Myers. Those are like some of the biggest influencers that come to these. There's a few others that I'm missing, like huge influencers. They show up and then they promote the event, and then we use those social media influencers to get people to come and buy tickets, to donate money to the Midnight Mission, and to actually collect toys. We want 2 18-wheelers worth of toys so that on Christmas Day, all those homeless children at the Midnight Mission are able to get a Christmas gift. Okay, that's what we do. And so the thing that I've learned over time is the better events, Miami Swim Week, the Met Gala, all those places, the Playboy Mansion, the Maxim Party, the thing that differentiates an average party from a great party is how many stunningly beautiful women show up. I know for some people that comes off as a super shallow, but if you actually look at the data, you look at like who wants to go to what, you're going to find that that's the case. Because what I found is women like to look at very beautiful women and men like to look at very beautiful women. And when they're there, to me, at least what I see, and from other people, is like if I'm going to look for a sign to why people are coming to this party, this is a high status party, that's to me the biggest sign. Did a bunch of like very attractive women come, then that means that this is probably a bigger party. Now, when people are like, hey, Michael, I'm a real estate agent and I just do real estate events or blah, 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 whatever. Yeah. For me to get guys to come to a real estate event, so let's just say we get like a big blue heron home, model home, and then we have like a charity event for animal rescue, which we actually did. My buddy Jeremy Lewis did that. When we do that, getting other real estate agents to come to a real estate event is easy because real estate agents' job is to network. Yep. So I'm not saying you can't have a high status real estate event. What I'm saying is that's shooting fish in a barrel. Inviting car salesmen to a car salesman event, all the car salesmen are going to show up and pass their fucking card out because they're car salesmen. It's easy to get male professionals to show up to these events. So having male professionals show up to your event is not a sign of a high status event. A sign of a high status event is getting people who don't want to normally come to your event. So that's why I said athletes, celebrities, and fucking social media influencers. When you do that, regardless, again, I know there's going to be people who watch this and be like, no, Michael, that's super shallow. I would never do that. I do an event where I have a bunch of CPAs come together and we raise money for domestic abuse. That's fine. But I promise you, if you did that same event and you had some huge social media influencers show up, your engagement on social media is going to be 100x, and you're going to get way more options to meet way more clients, and you're going to get access to way bigger net worth individuals when you do what I say. And so again, a lot of people, because my answer that I just gave you is very politically incorrect, a lot of people are not going to do it. But the reality of the situation is, whenever we throw the biggest, best events, it's always the prettiest girls who are working those events and the prettiest girls who are attending those events. And if you don't believe me, go to the Emmys and look at all the girls that they have that are fillers. So the first couple rows at the Emmys are always like the people, the awardees and the producers or whatever. And then behind that are fillers. And you don't buy tickets to those. They actually have casting agencies that go find people to fill in the back rows in the mezzanine. Those fillers are always very attractive people that they choose to put in there. If Hollywood understands this concept, why don't you? That's my question. If you go to CES, have you ever been to CES? Consumer Electronics Symposium in
I've heard of it
in Vegas. Yeah, the biggest convention of any kind, like I think in the entire world, CES. Look at the girls that stand behind the booths and then present. Oh, here's my new drone. Here's my new flat screen TV. They're all stunning, all of them, all of them. So why is that? Why is it that the tech companies, Silicon Valley understands this and Hollywood understands this, but you don't understand this? And the reality of the situation is that's what we teach guys. We teach guys, if you're going to throw an event and raise money for charity, you should do so, and you should have a ton of beautiful women there. And so how do you do that? That's exactly what we teach in the first 4 steps of Men of Action. Step number 1, fix your Instagram. Step number 2, build your list. Step number 3, find events to take people to. And step number 4, find 6 girls to go with you to those events. And we have a 100% track record. It never fails. What I teach works every time. And so that's the reason why it works so well. But it's very politically incorrect. So a lot of people don't like to admit that it works or even try it out.
I'll admit that it works all day, but can I do it? No, I can't. I'm not in a position to invite beautiful women to events. I'm just not. It's just that simple. Like the numbers are the numbers. So
where do you live?
I'm married. I live in San Antonio. And
So awesome. So San Antonio has got stunning women. Okay, first of all. Number 2, I'm not saying only invite girls. So you're going to invite a bunch of what you're in building sales teams, right? So let's just say you have a salesperson convention. There's no reason why you can't have some guys on the thing be like, hey, could you guys make sure to invite a bunch of girls, or have some female friends or your wife's female friends be like, hey, can we invite a bunch of girls? Because I want that ratio to at least be 1-to-1. Because I promise you, dude, when it's 1-to-1, everyone will come back the next year. When the ratio for these typical events is 7 dudes for every girl, which is most self-help shit, is 7 dudes for every girl. When you do that, people are like, man, they're just down to skip your event. They just don't really care. It's just something about the male brain. It's like when he sees attractive women, the status button goes off, and then the whole mentality of the situation is different. And the reason why, like I can tell you, think about what I just told you before, right? 2 years ago, I was nobody. Like I had no company, I had no nothing. I just told you my heroes are Ty Lopez. I've already interviewed Dan Bilzerian. I'm into evolutionary psychology, and I've interviewed David Buss, right? And then Brad Lee, Wes Watson, Dan Fleischman, and Ryan Stewman. And all of them have been on my podcast. Yeah. Interesting. Why? Do you think they've been on my podcast because my podcast is super interesting? Or do you think they've been on my podcast because every time I have a party, there's 75 girls there? Why do you think they actually show up? I know this is, for some of you, this is going to come off as so fucking vapid and shallow, but unfortunately, humans, we are hairless murder apes, and this is how humans react. And if you want to be ultra successful in these interactions, that's what one of the things you need to understand. It's not the only way to be successful, but it sure is an incredible leverage point, and it's exactly what we teach in my program.
It's definitely an Oz button for sure, and I would never
it is an Oz button.
that, but I'm always going to have that disadvantage because I have a set of values and I can't do it. Unfortunately, that can't be my image. I respect it. I respect the game.
Hold on. Well, so let's make a distinction. I'm not saying have a bikini competition. What I'm saying is everyone shows up in gowns. So like the Dragon Ball, and you're in San Antonio, the Dragon Ball in Dallas. Okay. The Dragon Ball in Dallas, everyone is in a gown and a tuxedo. Yeah, you can do that, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. You can absolutely do that. Yeah. You can do that and you can get away with it and it's not going to be a problem. You're just thinking about it I'm not saying go to the Playboy Mansion. What I'm saying is do things to keep the ratio at least 1-to-1. Watch how more people want to come to your event. That's all I'm saying. No,
I
like even the church understands this. Even the church understands that if you have youth groups where it's all men or all women, it doesn't work. You need a group of men and women. Otherwise, the interactions don't work and people just don't want to come back. That's just the way the world works. It's just more interesting. People, when you walk into a party and it doesn't matter who you are and you see beautiful women there, you just know this is the place to be. I'm not going anywhere else. Nightclubs have figured this out. Conventions have figured this out. Everyone else has figured this out. Beer companies have everyone figured this out. But for some reason, we don't teach it. That's why I started teaching it. This is not a sexual thing. This is not an exploitation thing. This is just a thing where if I'm going to be the real estate agent throwing events, I'm going to throw the events where there's just as many men as women at these events. And I'm going to get a bunch of huge influencers to come to my events. And let's have everyone wear a gown and let's raise money for animals. I'm not saying, yes, I do throw bikini competitions. I'm not saying do that. Don't do that. I do go to the Playboy Mansion. I'm not saying do that. What I am saying is the things that I've learned from those events, they perpetuate to other parts of my life. So I would just recommend to you, be like, hey, can we just make sure there's as many girls as guys at this event? And I bet your wife would even be like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. People will have a lot more fun if you do that. That's what I would do.
No, when we used to throw parties together, that was one of the things. Like invite all your friends from the waitresses from Roadhouse and stuff. So
yes. So now shout out to the bread at Roadhouse. Shout out to the fucking bread. Shout out to the bread at Roadhouse. That shouldn't get you fat. So now if you're talking about my kind of parties, it's 7 girls to every guy. It's 7 girls. You don't Maxim party, Dample's area, Ignite parties. It's 7 girls to every guy. But we're talking about you're just a real estate investor or you're somebody who does accounting. I would like to keep it at 1-to-1.
It's an energy thing too. Like a feminine energy is different. So, building sales, I started out in door to door. So if you got a girl to like sell door to door, it was over. That office was automatically doubling within a couple of weeks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like she's in there talking to every guy and doing stupid shit. It's just the energy is different in the office. But it's not just a bunch of dudes beating each other up all the time.
We are desperately trying to find our first female closer. We are desperately trying to find one. If you are a female closer, well, and you got to be brutal. We want somebody who really understands how to go after pain points. If you don't, and you also have to be able to consume enjoy my content. We really would love to get a female closer on the team. We already have my social media manager is female. We want a female closer though.
Yeah, absolutely. And they could bring another perspective to it too. Even in the scripts, even in the objections, the way to overcome them, it's completely different when you have that energy in the office for sure.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to respect your time. What is
no, we can go all day. Guys? I got another 4 hours, man. Let's go. It's live stream. Let's go 4.
So what's next for you? You've got all these things going on and everything, but there's got to be something that you're super excited about right now, or just nerding out to.
Isn't it funny? I ask these people this question, and it's always just like one thing they're doing, and then just sort of some vagueness. There's no vagueness with me. Okay. Yeah. Start with why. The One Thing by Gary Keller, one of the greatest books I've ever read. These books, I have goals. I understand what's next for me. MOA goes to 8 figures. We're probably going to hit there by December. Okay.
Beautiful.
Then eventually a low ticket product and a second product. We're not sure what it could be. Real estate and minded. There's a bunch of other ideas that we could go into. Right now, though, we're just sticking with networking. We're not doing a make money product. Make money products are, for those of you who don't know, make money products are the holy grail. If you get the right make money product, that's when you start charging people $200,000 a year to be in your mastermind. We don't have a make money product right now. The problem with the make money product, though, is if it doesn't work, and most often a lot of them don't, the clients don't stay with you for very long. On my product, because what I sell, my cost of goods sold on networking is 0, and my results are 100% if you actually do what I say, because we have guarantees. My success rate is 100%, even though I don't have a make money product, which is causing our business to grow. But if you get the right make money product, that is the ultimate holy grail, because what happens is guys invest in your product and then they get an ROI on their investment. So that's why Wes Watson is at $2.6 million a month. because one of the products he sells is how to teach you to become a personal trainer for other people using social media, which is what he does. So you end up making the money back that from his program when you buy his program. That's what he does specifically. Brandon Carter does something similar. And then so he teaches you how to build your own business using that business model. That's why a lot of guys, that's why their programs do so insanely well. I'm more in the networking and relationship area. The thing is, there's actually more demand for what I do, but you don't have a financial ROI the same way. Not to say that's not true. Like a lot of guys come into my program and make money, but it's not a make. I'm going to say this again because my sales guys get super mad at me when I don't say this. It's not a make money program. If you hit me up saying, Michael, I'm trying to make $100,000 a month, they'll be like, well, let me introduce you to Cole Gordon, because that's not what we teach in my program. Right. Someday maybe. And I tell my guys all the time, I was like, we have such an incredible process to go from lead to sale. I really think at some point we should teach it. At some point, but we're not teaching it right now. At some point, I think we should teach what we're doing, because there's a lot of people out there teaching this stuff that are not as good as us, and I feel like we should teach it. We have a ton of value to give. So, that's the way I look at that whole situation. What was the original question?
What's next? What are you?
What's next? Right now? Eight figures. I want bigger guests. Like, to me, the podcast is still my baby. So right now, I mean, I'm going to speak it into existence. I want Professor Scott Galloway on my show. I would like to have Gad Sad. For those of you who are like, man, those are not big YouTubers. No, those are psychologists. These are PhDs I want. I'd like to have Neil deGrasse Tyson on at some point. I'd love to get David Goggins. I'd love to get Alex Hormozi. Those are like the biggest ones I want. I'd still like to get Mike Tyson. I've met Mike a couple of times. His people told me yes, but like haven't got back to me. It's a little hard to get to nail him down. He's not in Vegas full time anymore, so it's a little different. I want to get out Jeremy Piven on. Jeremy and I've already had a discussion about that.
Jeremy's my freaking hero.
Yeah,
I love Jeremy Piven. Have you ever?
He's a buddy.
You ever read his book?
No, I didn't know. I did not know Jeremy.
Well, he's his persona of Ari Gold.
Oh, no, I know about that.
You got to get it on audio. You got to get it on freaking audio.
Yeah, that's great.
Sorry.
Jeremy, and then my buddy Jim Jackson, he's an announcer for TNT. I'll plan to have him on. So there's a group of guys that I want to start having on more. And one of the things is the networking in the podcast builds on itself. So like, let's just say this is the guy I want. What I do is I have all his friends on the show, and then eventually they all ask him, and then he says yes. And then you just do that same thing again. And then at the pinnacle at the top is, Joe Rogan comes on the Michael Sartain podcast, which is, I mean, it's a long shot, but that's always the direction I'm going.
That's
like I always
like if you
go ahead.
You had said, I'll be on your podcast, but a lot of people say that and then you reach out to them and they don't or whatever. That's the fallback. I was going to reach out to your guys if you did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's 100% a great way to attack it.
So that's ultimately the goal. So like what, for instance, I'm going to have, I forgot what Robert I'm gonna have Robert Kiyosaki coming on next week. So I think he's been on Rogan. I've had Bilzerian who's been on Rogan, and I've had David Buss who's been on Rogan. And then I'm going to what I want is as many guys that have been on Joe Rogan on my podcast as possible. Because what happens then is when I send a message out to Alex Hormozi, who doesn't know me from Adam, and then he sees all these people that have been on Rogan on my show, at least he's going to be like, okay, there's some level of credibility there. Right. And so that's essentially what happens. I don't expect people to like me who don't know shit about me. I'm skeptical when most people message me on the internet. So I expect other people to be skeptical. So in order to get over the skepticism, I need to provide evidence. If you guys want to know what separates you from these millennial weirdos that look like Tekashi 6ix9ine who are selling bullshit NFT courses online, the fake watch, the Lamborghini bros, the thing that separates you from those guys is providing fucking evidence for what you're saying. Provide evidence. They're just lying. So you tell the truth. That's all you have to do. I underpromise and overdeliver with everything in my course. If you can just provide evidence, testimonials, shows, charts, whatever, to show that what you're saying is true, rather than the 10-paragraph bullshit about, oh, we'll get you 100,000 Instagram followers and comments, and they're all organic. And none of it's organic. Instead of those lies, just tell the truth. You tell the truth, and you can show this. And so for me, the truth would be, I got this guy on my podcast, I'm trying to get Scott Galloway to come on because I love Scott Galloway. But he's like, oh, I don't have any bandwidth. So I had Richard Reeves on the other day, and I could tell in his response, he was like, oh, I didn't expect that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's a couple of guys, it's really fun for me when they're just like, it's very clear they're just making excuses that they don't want to come on because I don't have a big enough podcast. I only have 55,000 subs. And it's like, and then I do something that just sort of like breaks their expectation. I get a guest that they weren't expecting, and I'll send them back, hey, just want to let you know, still love to have you on the show. And it's some huge guest that they didn't expect. And they're like, oh, wow, great guest. Yeah, maybe I'll get back to you in a couple of months. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that. That's what I'm always trying to do. Oh, Greg Duchette and More Plates, More Dates. Those are two other guys I want to get on the show.
Awesome. So 8 figures, and then you're going to come in with a load. I feel like because you've had a high ticket offer for so long, you've kind of been building that anticipation. And when you come,
we just have but we also have so many leads that they just can't do the program.
Well, and that's
and I get it. I guess it's an expensive program. I totally understand. But like we have so many leads that can do it. Like, and the other thing is like, just because a guy lives in fucking Nigeria, Nepal, India, or Brazil doesn't mean he shouldn't be able to get some help on his networking ability. You know, he just can't afford it. I mean, he lives in a country where people live on less than 10 grand a year. Then I understand it sucks, man. So, but I want to be able to still help them too. So we're going to come up with a low ticket product at some point for them. Okay.
I'm going to finish it up with a little woo-woo stuff. And I'm very curious of your answer on this because you're such a analytical, number-driven, success-driven dude. And so, the question I always ask all of my guests is, what does legacy mean to you, and what legacy do you want to leave behind?
The legacy I want to leave behind is that I helped a ton of people. I want to leave the legacy behind where, again, I get this from Wes Watson. Wes Watson makes in excess of probably 25, 30 million a year selling his coaching course. And the main thing he said was, I can't buy any more cars. I'm not going to go out here and chase women. He goes, the only thing I can leave behind is all the people that I helped. I've heard several people say that, but hearing a convicted felon who did 10 years in California State Penitentiary say that, who's outrageously wealthy. I think he's on his 4th Lamborghini and his 3rd Phantom that he's got. He just built a mansion in San Diego, and he just bought a huge high rise in Miami. For somebody that wealthy, and he's also friends with my other buddy Eric Spofford, who just has a humongous boat and just sold his company for $220 million or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. When you see that, those guys being like, in the end, it's not the money, it's how many people I help. That's exactly what I want. I want to be able to help people. In the end, I love when I go to, by the way, I'll go to airports and stuff, and people stop me like, oh my God, you're Michael Sartain. They want to take a picture. I never get tired of that, especially when I'm in front of my girl. You guys can ask me to take pictures, especially when I'm in front of my girl. Just come up. I'll take all the pictures you want.
Yeah.
But being able to help people in the end, like being able to do that is really important to me. And the other thing is like this, there is a certain responsibility that we have to the truth. And there's a response, like we want to make money, but there's also responsibility that we have to the truth. And sometimes in order to make money, we forget that responsibility. And we start to do things like push out nonsense conspiracy theories, or start calling women bad names in order to sell like a dating product or something like that. We just kind of like, we sort of mesh, we screw up our eye. We have questionable morals in order to make more money. I don't want to do that. What I would prefer is, again, we all have some response, especially if you grow as an influencer, you have a responsibility to the truth. And the truth is not something that you read on some political website, that's some conspiracy that you have like telling people that UFOs exist is not exposing the truth. There's still no evidence that there are aliens here. There really isn't. I don't care what anyone says. There is no evidence to suggest that. There's just conjecture and just a bunch of fuzzy photos. What you have a responsibility to the truth. And what are you willing to do for that responsibility? How far are you willing to go? I have a clip that's coming out tomorrow, where a friend of mine, Adam Sosnick, went to Romania to interview Andrew Tate last week, and in doing so, he comes back. He posts some clips from the interview. His Instagram has been deleted, and it's been permanently deleted. And there's Instagram did not give him a warning, and they're not allowing him an appeal. They've just taken his account down because he was posting clips with Andrew Tate. So now the question becomes, when you post that kind of content, and he's not breaking terms of service, he's offering a different point of view. Is it worth losing your Instagram for that, and then like seriously hurting your business? And so who gets to win there? Do the tech companies get to win because you're not willing to give up that amount of money? In my case, I have 17 people that work with me. So what happens with them? Do they lose their jobs because I had an interview with Andrew Tate? I have to make these decisions. Here's the thing. I shouldn't have to make those decisions. I live in a country that has the First Amendment. I should be allowed to express myself. And what's even further is that I'm a member of the media. I'm not even expressing that I agree with his viewpoints. I'm just allowing him to express his viewpoints. So what happens to me? Like, the other thing I'm really concerned is August 1st, I'm debating Nick Fuentes, who's like a Holocaust denier. So what happens when I have him on my show and I disagree with every single thing this guy says? Am I gonna be deplatformed just because I have a debate with him? Is that what's gonna happen next? These are some of these conundrums that you have to think about as a content creator. Like, what are you supposed to do here? Like, because big tech, it doesn't seem to be very mutable. They don't seem to be very punchable. They don't seem to listen to when people give them criticism, other than the situation with Elon Musk and Twitter. They don't seem to listen, you know?
Yeah, you have to buy the whole platform just to get them to listen.
Yeah. No, the solution is, the solution for YouTube was Rumble, and the solution for Facebook, I think, was Twitter. You know, Twitter allowing more conservatives to be on the platform. I think the solution for Instagram is someone's going to have to come up with some other photo sharing platform that's like TikTok or Instagram, but you don't get banned because you have an American flag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm a political moderate. The other day, Nick Merck, he said something to the effect of "stay away from our kids" when there was an LBGT protest up north in like Riverdale or something like that, and he didn't make any anti-trans or any anti-LBGT comment. All he said was keep them, stay away from our kids. What he meant was he doesn't think children should be indoctrinated before puberty for that lifestyle, and that's all he said. And because of that, Activision took his skin down off of Call of Duty because of that. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous, right? Now, me saying that, am I going to be banned for making that statement? That is rational for a guy who's in his 20s who just had his first kid for him to want to protect his kids. That is a rational response for a rational human being to have. And for you to say, "Oh no, he can't say that. That's homophobic, and we're going to take that off the platform," that's not rational. You're showing more of who you are than he's showing who he is. So that's the kind of stuff. Those are the questions you have to ask. Are you willing to lose that? Now, in Nick Merck's case, Nick's probably pulling in, several $100,000 a month playing COD. He gives a shit about that Activision skin. And to be fair, Activision, if they have any brains in their head, they're going to put Nick Merck back on their platform because he's one of their biggest content creators.
I think he's not playing right now because of that.
Huh? He stopped playing it?
Yeah, he stopped playing because
he's not playing COD. I didn't even know he wasn't playing COD.
Other ones have stopped playing too because of that.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, it should not have gotten this acrimonious. This is ridiculous. Someone should have had a conversation with him, and that conversation should have been broadcast publicly, and then people could have gone back and forth, and a resolution could have been had. Instead, you just pull his shit down. That's the way it works. It's funny how my side, and when I say my side, I don't mean conservatives. When I say my side, when I say my side, I mean people of reason. It's funny how people of reason are open to debate, and people who are not of reason just want to pull you down and then have no debate, right? Instagram takes down Adam Sosnick, no debate, right? That's essentially what happens. If your values and your viewpoints are truly correct, argue them in a form of open debate. Now, I happen to enjoy open debate, which is, helped me make a lot of money, but it's also probably going to get me canceled on certain platforms.
I can see that in your future. I can see it, especially with the way things are going for everybody else,
Yeah.
But I love that you're still doing it. You're still saying it, and yes, it is a tough decision to make. I mean, we all have these values we have, and one of yours is freedom of speech, right? I mean, that's what we fought for this country. So I can imagine how convicted you are in that. For me, it was like I had this past where I was unfaithful, you know what I mean? And so I made sure I ended up reconciling with my wife, and now, so that is just something that I don't toy with anymore. And that's kind of what we talked about earlier. But one of my people was, right? So one of my regional managers was doing that. And so I ended up having to cut him loose because we had established core values in the company a year before. And he brought in 1.3 million a year to my company.
Crazy.
And I had to make
He's a sales guy?
Yeah. A regional sales guy. Yeah.
He's a sales guy.
Hey, I'll give you his info all day long.
I'm asking for a friend.
I got him another contract with AT&T. I made sure he could still eat, but we separated. We just had different values.
Yeah, of course. I totally understand. Yeah. No, we have similar values, but it's not like that. Like, if somebody in the company, if one of my clients snitches on another client, like, I've had this happen before where some of my clients were complaining about a certain photographer who was like creepy around the girls. And so
Right.
another guy who didn't like me screenshotted the conversation from Discord and sent it to that photographer. I don't blame the photographer. The guy who snitched on us, out of the course. We don't allow snitches in our course. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. That is the most unmasculine shit I could possibly imagine. Like you should have confronted him. You confront the person. You don't snitch on them. That's not the way it works.
That's what I did. I
that's what
confronted him, and it was with one of my admin, unfortunately. And then I cut him loose, and he never heard from me again after that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's his to deal with, not mine.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure. Awesome,
brother. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. I mean, the value you've dropped has just been insane. And I did. That's why I wanted you on the show. Once I heard that, I was like, more people need to hear this. Too many people are over evaluating their content, not putting enough out, and not jumping on the new trends, you know? And at the bottom line, it's just what you said. What did you say? You said social media is this, but it makes money.
Yeah, social media is fake, and I'm okay with that. Rule number 4 in Men of Action, social media is fake, and I'm okay with that because the money's real. Also, the world is not fair, and I'm okay with that. That's the second part of rule number 4.
I love it, brother. I want to thank you again for coming on the show. Appreciate all the time that you spent doing this for us little guys. We're little guys for now, you know what I mean? But like you said, we may blow up someday.
I guarantee you someone who's interviewed me in the last year is going to blow by me here pretty soon. I guarantee you it'll happen. Yep.
I love it so much. Appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
All right, man. Thanks. Take care, brother.
Let's get building.